What is it that's holding you back, keeping you from becoming everything that God has created you to be, living your purpose and reaching your destiny? Is it self doubt, feeling that you don't measure up to others? Perhaps it's fear or lack of resources, offenses and challenges, maybe even past or current circumstances. Well, I want you to know that these are pathologies, diseases of the mind that negatively impact how you think and perceive things that invade your everyday life. You can overcome these peculiarities and become conquerors, living in the purpose that God has for your life. The Bible in Philippians 4:13 teaches us, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Hello,
Hey
I'm your
seeds,
coach Dee
welcome to
Johnson,
Watering
and
the
I'm going
Seed,
to
where
share with
truth
you
takes
on
root
how
and
you can
healing
overcome
grows.
these
I'm your
pathologies
host,
and
Coach
be
D,
all that God
and I'm
created you to
planting
be.
wisdom
On
one
today's
story at a
Watering
time.
the Seed.
So today's podcast is lying, a survival mechanism. You know what's wild? Some people don't just lie to you, they lie on you, like full blown rewrite the script, cast you as the villain, Oscar worthy performance type lies. And all of it just to protect an image that was built on their own brokenness to begin with. Today, we're digging into the kind of lie that doesn't come from evil, but from fear, from habit, from a survival instinct that says, I can't let them see the truth because I've never seen the truth handled well. So lying becomes second nature to some, like the breath they never question. Even when you meet them with love, grace, or a wide open door to your truth, they still choose the lie. Why? Why? I'll tell you. Because honesty feels like exposure. It's dangerous to their image, dangerous to the mask they've worn so long it feels like skin. And even when there's no threat, no consequence, no reason, they still default to the deception because it's the only language they've ever really trusted. Lying, a survival mechanism. So join me as we unpack the sting of betrayal, the silence that follows the flip, and the emotional warfare that lies create when truth gets weaponized. This one, it's not just a conversation, it's a reckoning. So let's get into it. The betrayal flip, when they lie on you. Seeds, have you ever dealt with someone who messed up and got caught, and then instead of taking responsibility for their actions, they run off and make you look like the problem? The betrayal flip, when they lie on you, and you're the problem. Let's be real, some people just don't lie, they live in it. Not because they're evil, although some are, but because lying feels safer than being exposed. And here's the kicker. Sometimes they lie so well, they start lies to be the truth. And when you confront them with grace, they still lie. And then flip it, lying on you to save their face, to save face. Why? Why? I'll tell you why. Because truth threatens the illusion they've built to survive. I'll tell you why. Because truth threatens the illusion they've built to survive. Have you ever tried to give someone a safe space to tell the truth and they still chose the lie? Well, I have. Recently, I sent a text to a friend and asked if they had attended church service. They replied yes. I followed up by asking how it went, and all I received was a thumbs up emoji. The next day, I stopped by to visit that friend, and during a conversation, I brought it up again. So, how was church? I asked. They replied, it was good. Curious, I asked, did you meet anyone new? That's when the truth started to unravel. They paused and said, well, I didn't actually go in. I live right next door, so I'm there every Sunday. I was around. I looked at them and said, so you didn't really go to church, did you? They hesitated, then admitted, yeah, not really. Me and God have an understanding. I shook my head and simply said, just say no and stop lying. My friend was lying for no reason. But why? Like they had to lie for absolutely no reason. Now let's go deeper. Lying to you is one thing, but lying on you, that's a whole spiritual assault. This is emotional warfare, if you will. The lie now becomes a weapon, not just a cover, but a dagger, if you will. The lie now becomes a weapon, not just a cover, but a dagger. They shift the narrative so you look like the villain. This is a form of gaslighting designed to make you question your reality. And why? So they can maintain the image, so they don't have to confront their guilt. Talk. Some people will lie on you just to keep the lie off of them. And this is how it plays out. They get caught, can't face their own guilt, so instead of being accountable for their actions, they craft a narrative where you become the reason they did what they did. Simply put, they did what they did. Simply put, they needed a villain to escape the consequences of their choices, and you were close enough to frame. You were close enough to frame. And here's how that plays out. They run to the family, friends, church folks, or co-workers. They distort the timeline, leaving out any details that will hold them accountable or make them look guilty. They play the victim, painting your boundaries as controlling, your discernment as paranoia. They weaponize empathy, knowing people will believe the one who was hurt. So they appeal to people's soft side. And before you know it, you're sitting in a circle of judgment for crimes you never committed. The person who lied on you is now walking around with sympathy, validation, and a clean image. Okay? But real talk, erase yours. Real talk. They were trying to protect, they were not trying to protect their truth. They were trying to erase yours. Lying and infidelity. Yeah, let's touch on that a little bit. Types of lies and infidelity. Types of lies and infidelity. Straight denial, half truths, deflection, and projection. Okay. Here's how it plays out. They cheat. Straight denial. That never happened. Straight denial, just straight out lie. That never happened. Never happened. Straight denial, just straight out lie. That never happened. They lie. Half truths. We only talked. That's a half truth. Then you find them out. You offer a chance for honesty, a safe space, you know. And what do? Why are you so insecure? That's projection. That's projecting that behavior back onto you. You probably cheated first. Projection, putting that behavior back onto you. They deflect by saying you're insecure and they project it, they throw it on you. You probably cheated first. They start lying on you to their friends, their mama, their group chat, and anybody who will listen. It's all full-blown soap opera. Full-blown soap opera. Now you're controlling, insecure, bitter, crazy. You're all these things. You're controlling. They're controlling. Oh, they're insecure. They're just bitter. No, they're crazy. Not because you are, because you're not, but because the truth would require them to admit they hurt someone who loved them the right way. Hurt someone who loved them the right way. Okay? Let this seed sink in. Let it sink in. They hurt someone who loved them the right way. And now the guilt of the betrayal, it becomes hard for them to face. And they don't want their peers to say it was your fault. They don't want to feel like they failed in that relationship. They didn't lie to destroy you. They lied to preserve the version of themselves they wanted people to believe in. And if you get destroyed in the process, oh well. They're safe. So let's go over a few things. Why do they lie? Why they lie? They lie to protect their image. I'm not a bad person. I just made a mistake, so I'll hide it. They like to avoid confrontation or losing what they're not ready to let go of. They lie because the thrill of secrecy gives them control in a life where they feel powerless. And they lie the trauma response. Some people grew up punished for telling the truth. So deception became the default. Okay? The lie is safer. When you offer a safe space for them, truth, and they still lie to you. The heartbreak of being understanding only to be betrayed anyway. People have never seen truth handled with grace, so they assume it always comes with punishment. And I'll give you an example of that. You say, just be honest. I won't judge. I just want clarity. And they say, okay. And then they lie anyway and later blame you when the truth comes out. Okay, so let's reflect on that. When someone is more loyal to the lie than to your loyalty, believe them. Believe them. When they're more loyal to the lie than they're showing you them true selves. Some people lie out of fear of rejection, abandonment, being exposed, losing control, or just flat out being wrong. Fear of having to face the damage they've caused to a situation, to other people, to their partner, their mate, just fear of having to face the damage they've caused. And even when you give them a safe place to be real, fear chokes their voice. Their trauma taught them that truth equals punishment, so they reflect their go-to is to defend themselves. Always disguise themselves, always. They're not trying to heal the wound, they're trying to hide the scar. Others lie out of habit. It's a muscle memory, even when there's nothing to lose. It's a muscle memory to lose. It's a muscle memory. As I explained with my friend in the church situation, just lying out of habit. And why do they do that? Maybe because it's easier than vulnerability. They've trained their nervous system to equate honesty with danger, or they're addicted to the performance, the need to control how others perceive them. And in my situation, that seemed to have been the narrative. That person basically needed to control how. This one runs deep. They've done it for so long. They lie about stuff that doesn't even matter. They've rehearsed lying so long, it's like breathing. Their lies don't even have to make sense. They just have to sound believable. Over time, the lie becomes more familiar than the truth, and they like it's home. Some examples of their lies are lying about their past. This creates an illusion of what they want or want it to be, a movie script, if you will. It's misleading, it's devious, and it's trickery. They're not trustworthy. They lie about small things. I was already on my way, not because it matters, but because it keeps them in control. Knowing full well that when you called them, they were not on their way. They probably hadn't even left the house. They may not even be dressed, but, but they're telling you they're on their way. But they're telling you they're on their way. And again, not because it matters, but because it keeps them in control. And then lying about who said what, like creating confusion so they stay in the center of the truth. Again, dishonest, deceitful, and habit team up. Fear plus habit equals what? It equals double jeopardy. You're in double jeopardy. Even when you say, just tell me the truth, I won't blow up, I just want clarity, they'll still lie because their brain has been trained to protect itself from anything that looks like loss. Anything that looks like loss, anything that they feel they're going to lose, because They have to win. They have to win. There's no other option. And the most dangerous part, believing their own lies. They convince themselves that their version of the story is true. And that, my dear, is the real danger. That is the real danger. So, you ask, Coach D, why is lying considered a survival mechanism? Well, I'm glad you asked. Lying is considered a survival mechanism because for some people, lying isn't about being malicious, it's about being afraid. It's not always about deceiving you, sometimes it's about protecting themselves. And let's unpack that. It gives the pause button on accountability. Okay? It's the pause on accountability. It gives them time. When someone's world is about to crumble, when the truth might cost them a relationship, a reputation, or a sense of control, lying becomes the quickest way to hit pause. It's a delay tactic, a buzzer zone. Let me figure this out before I get found out. It's a pause. They're not trying to fix it, they're trying to freeze it. Okay? Trying to freeze it. Okay? So they'll lie. And then lying isn't always about deception, it's about delay. Delay of consequences. They're not ready to face the fallout. So they push it down the line, hope to keep the relationship, the position, or the comfort of the current situation, even if it's built on a foundation of sand. Delay of reality. Truth forces people to deal with what is, but a lie lets them pretend a little longer that everything is okay. That they didn't mess up, that they're still the good one. Lying becomes their way of staying afloat, even if it means drowning you in the confusion. But here's the twist, they may not even see themselves as liars. What? No, really? Liars. What? No, really? They may not even see themselves as liars. They see themselves as survivors. Can any one of my seeds out there relate to this? Can you relate to that? Have you had this experience? I certainly have. Tell you, they may not even see themselves as liars. They see themselves as survivors. That's why the lie often feels justified to them. Because in their mind, they weren't lying to hurt you, they were lying to protect themselves. But the problem that protects your clarity and your trust. And over time, that's not survival, it's sabotage. Lying may buy them time, but it costs them integrity and it costs you the stability that truth was supposed to give. It cost you. It cost you the stability that truth was supposed to give. They weren't lying to you, they were lying for themselves. Now, how do we handle a liar? How do we handle a liar? Let's get practical. Let's get practical. First, you call it out. Yes, we are going to call them out on their stuff, but don't chase it. Back away. If you feel safe, name the behavior, but don't get stuck trying to force them into truth. Let them know you see the lie and the damage it's causing, but don't waste your soul trying to force them to confess. They may never admit it, and you'll get trapped in their emotional maze. Because truth be told, if they lie, well, if they're good liars, and I know some of my seeds know exactly what I'm talking about. If they lie and the lie is good, they argue even better than they lie. Number 2, detach with dignity. Disengage with dignity. Walking away doesn't make you weak. Engage with dignity. Walking away doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. You don't have to stay close to someone who's who manipulates the truth to protect themselves. You don't have to stay close to that. If the relationship requires you to keep tolerating lies for the sake of peace, well, peace. That is not peace, people. That's you performing silence. You're performing. You're performing silence. If they need to manipulate the truth to survive, then you need to protect your peace to thrive. Did you hear it? If they need the truth to survive, then you need to protect your peace to thrive. Set the boundary, distance, block if needed. Walk away with your head up. Okay? Number 3, don't chase closure. Stay rooted in your truth. People might believe the lie for now. Let them. Let them, because the truth has longevity. Lies need maintenance. Okay? Maintenance. Because if you tell one lie, you have to tell another to cover that first lie, and then it goes on and on and on. Lies need maintenance. So don't retaliate. Don't beg to be believed. You don't have to do that. Your truth is your peace. The people will believe the lie for now, and let them, because the truth has longevity. Your actions, integrity, and consistency will outlive their performance. Trust me, it will. You don't have to prove your truth when your life already preaches it. If you live the life of a truthful person, you don't have to prove your truth. Your life already is a gift you give yourself when you say, I know what I saw, I trust what I felt, and I release what they refuse to own. They refuse to own the truth. So let it go. Closure is a gift. Closure is a gift you give yourself, okay? A gift. Closure is a gift you give yourself, okay? All right. And then number 4, should you warn other people about the liar? I talked about this in another episode. I believe it was Purpose in the Middle of Pain. Well, should you warn them? This one gets tricky, so here's the rule of thumb. Yes, if the person is harmful, repeating patterns with others, okay? In a position of influence, like a church leader, a boss, something like abuse through their lies, then yes. But even then, don't gossip. Give only the facts. You don't have to be messy to be honest. Here's where the no comes in. If it's just about vindication or proving yourself right, that becomes its own trap. So in that case, if that's your motive, then the answer is a resounding no. Okay? Warn to protect, not to punish. Don't gossip. Be factual. All right? Be factual. All right? Now, what you can do about it, you can discern the difference between someone who lies out of fear and someone who lies out of habit. Don't personalize their lie. It's not always about you. It's about their war with reality. They're in reality. It's not about you. So don't chase closure from a liar. Don't do that. You'll just end up spinning in their cycle. You'll get trapped in their cycle, their whirlwind of lies. Tell your own truth, even when theirs distorts your truth. There is power in not matching their survival game. Trust me, there's power in that. So don't try to match their survival game. Your truth, own it. Own it. Because that's where your power is. You don't have to match their lie with noise. You don't have to defend your truth against deception. Let time testify. Let peace be your receipt. Okay? And affirm this with me. I don't need their confusion to walk in clarity. I release with me. I don't need their confusion to walk in clarity. I release what was never honest enough to hold me. I don't need to carry the lies they told. I walk in truth, even if I walk alone. Okay? If I walk alone. Okay? It's okay to walk alone as long as you're walking in your truth. So, seeds, thank you for listening to Watering the Seed. If this episode planted something powerful in you, share it, tag it.